Secretary Henry Paulson decided that banks and insurance companies like our friends at Wells Fargo, Citibank, Bank of America were too big to fail.
They're not my friends.
Now what does that mean? The logic says that if these behemoth corporations would collapse, then the effects of the national and global economic system would have been so dire that we would all have suffered terribly. So the banks got bailed out and the people got sold out.
And screwed up.
Now, in the past 3 years, what has the government learned about the notion of too big to fail? In short, nothing. So let me hit you with some statistics. In 2002, the top 10 banks held 55% of all U.S. assets. Now, the Big Six hold 77% of those assets. Including, now the Big Six, including Wells Fargo, now have global assets equivalent to 60% of the U.S. gross domestic product. Between 2008 and 2010, Wells Fargo, where Avi is right now, made a profit of $49.3 billion. Anyone want to guess how much they paid in taxes over that same period? Wrong. Negative $681 million. Now, what have the banks learned about too big to fail? They've learned how to be more greedy. Multinational banks are not investing in the local community. In fact, the Big Six have reduced small business spending by 50% since the bailout. Now, what are they doing with the capital they're hoarding? First, they're buying up smaller banks. They're getting bigger than they were before the crash, and they're centralizing their power, but also their risk, debt, and leverage.
That's right.
Second, instead of investing in the community, they're recklessly speculating in these fictions called derivatives, futures, commodities, and currencies. In other words, the banks are back to business as usual, using global financial markets like a roulette wheel. And if they get lucky and win, sure, they'll make a big profit. But if they lose, which they almost certainly will, they'll go belly up and come back looking for another bailout.
No casino capitalism!
Because the real tragedy of too big to fail is that the banks have nothing to lose when they're guaranteed by our government. The banks have nothing to lose when the gamble the banks take has been insured by our government. Right? They have no incentive to be responsible.
Yeah.
So we need to reject the logic, and we must reject the logic of too big to fail. No corporation must be allowed to get so big that the government will unquestionably ensure its success.
That's right.
If a corporation is too big to fail, that corporation is too big to exist. Our government needs to return to breaking up the trusts and preventing monopolies. For if our government is to be of, by, and for the people, then it must be we the people saying that the capital, the voice, and the power must reside with us, not with the banks, not with the corporations. Power to the people.
Hi folks, I'm Tom Simmons. I'm an associate professor of English here at the University.